Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of This Might Get Personal. My name is Alexander Lloyd Blake. We're here with another special guest. She is a vocalist and an artist, a vocal producer, but we'll talk about that soon. But for the past 2 decades has been the vocal director of an up-and-coming artist named Beyoncé. Her name is Tiffany Monique. Welcome, Tiffany.
Yes, hello, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
All right, let's get right into it. You have been working with Queen Bee
Yes.
for so many years. Certainly one of the mamas, but also, as you just said, a vocal director now. I would love to hear more about your process and how you got started.
Wow. So let's see. My really long story short, um, I actually started singing background professionally probably about 10 years before the Beyonce opportunity. Starting out initially aspiring to be an artist, and then things did not pan out in the time frame that I wanted. And so I met another background vocalist, Melanie Daniels, who was background vocalist for Mariah Carey at the time.
So good.
Yes. And I kind of just asked her, like, how do you do this, like, professionally and, long term? And she kind of gave me some tips and pointers. So I started out by going to this place called the Village Underground in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
I would go every Sunday and just perform and sing. And then on Monday, I would go to my regular job at a pharmaceutical company, clock in and do regular work. And then in 2007, I would have like little spot dates in between here and there prior to then. But in 2007, I got a phone call from Melanie Daniels, and she had just received a phone call from then Beyonce's music director, Kim Burse. And they were looking for a full-tone soprano to join an upcoming tour. And so they asked if I would be available. So literally, after I had just had my son at the time, he was 1. I was married. I was very much living normal corporate life. So it wasn't as easy of a decision initially as some people would think it would be in hindsight.
Right.
But I ultimately decided, like, okay, I said I wanted a major opportunity. This is what these opportunities are made of. So long story short, I took an immediate leave of absence from that job and never went back. And,
as it goes.
Right. And literally in March of 2007, started performing with Beyonce as one of the mamas at the time.
And I'd like for you guys to give it up for these very sexy mamas. I need them to sing a little something for y'all. Because these ladies, they bad. Come on.
So I was the baby of the mamas, and it was very intimidating. They were all incredible musicians. I was a new mom, corporate girl, church girl. So it was a new environment for me at the time, but best decision ever still. So
Wow.
yes.
I almost called you baby mama, but that doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's not it. That's not it.
Right.
Wow. So what corporate job were you doing?
I was a clinical document specialist for the Novartis Pharmaceutical Corporation in the early clinical trials department. So there are literally like certain medications and things that are out now that I was working on at the time when I left that job. So really good job, really good company. If I were in corporate America, I would have definitely probably continued to try to go up, that platform, but I was literally sitting at my desk crying about, God, how can I sing full time? So when the opportunity came, I had to leave.
Right.
Yes.
You said y'all be good.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So how did then you go from being the baby of the mamas, to correct the term, to then the vocal director?
Wow, not easy. So I was with the mamas, Montina and Chrissy. I was with the mamas for approximately, just round up and say 10 years. We started together in March of 2007, sorry. And we performed together with Beyonce until the end of 2016, at the end of her Formation tour. Um, After that, when the next tour opportunity came up, it was actually the Coachella performance that
Wow.
Beyonce did. And for that, she decided to go in a different direction. And so she was doing the show, and it was based on HBCU themes and all of that. So fun fact is, initially I didn't even expect to be a part of Coachella initially. That was kind of my first initial promotion.
Mm.
So I was promoted to the assistant vocal arranger for the Coachella homecoming performance, and we had a choir. And so that was kind of my first time kind of bringing the choir environment into Beyonce universe.
Mm-hmm.
And also my first time being on stage without Martina and Chrissy, which was different. And then later on, after the Coachella performances, we went on to do OTR2 tour. And I traveled with three other vocalists, Steve, Kiki, and J. Rome. And again, loved them, but it was so weird because then I went from kind of being the baby of the bunch to the leader of the bunch. And it was a learning lesson because I'm a very, very compassionate leader.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the process of, I mean, luckily I worked with really good people because that helped. But as being a compassionate leader, that was a bit of a struggle for me just to learn how, okay, you have to lead and they can still be your friends, but you have to get business handled and, you know. So that was an adjustment to me. Definitely missed my big sisters on stage at the time. But it gave me the opportunity to grow. And then fast forward to Renaissance in 2023, I feel like in kind of Beyonce world, that
Mm-hmm.
tour was my grow up year
Mm.
because the whole time we were the mamas, it was definitely like love them, love their energy. I'm originally a Southern girl. They were Southern girls. So it all fed into the same thing. But I can't necessarily say that I saw my own personality in that. And for Renaissance, especially now being the vocal director, and we had new background vocalists, and it was kind of my responsibility to bring them on. And based upon the vision that she had, I'm like, okay, this is up my lane. This.
Yes.
So I really feel like that tour helped me grow up and evolve and kind of understand my identity as a leader, my identity kind of working with her, and probably most beneficially, my identity as an artist, like kind of solo, because we had such an opportunity to perform both as background vocalists, but also as artists. So that was
I know,
great.
as I saw, and you all were so good. I
Yeah.
had actually never at that point had never been to a Beyonce concert.
Wow,
I
really?
know. And I actually didn't see that one in
Oh my
live.
goodness. Oh goodness.
You know,
It was so good.
regrets. It's fine. If she wants to Renaissance at Renaissance, but I'm ready. But
Listen,
anyways,
listen.
he said run it back.
Right.
But no, I saw, many recording and video, and I saw all of you, and met you, and of course, met Taylor,
Yes.
you know,
I can't remember.
and knew
Yes.
Natalie as
Yes.
well. So just to be
Yep.
able to see your solo moment, it's amazing.
Yes. Yes. And so I never take that for granted because to this day I have not found many artists who will not only give you a spot on their stage but leave their stage, and it was a responsibility. Don't think that it did not come without responsibilities. She very much wanted to make sure that we were prepared and that we did not bore her audience,
Right.
but but I appreciate that she kind of gave us that trust, and I call it artist development because that's exactly what it takes to be able to command an audience like that for that period of time. And the fact that she trusted us with that responsibility and with me as a leader, it was it helped a lot even for my confidence as an artist and in my own right. So she's like one of one when it comes
Wow.
to, yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
She's one of one when it comes to so many things. This
everything. Right,
this is a
right.
podcast that is a Beyonce stand. If you all are
Right,
not
right.
clear,
She's
just to
one
be
of
clear,
one.
right?
The only one. Right,
Yes.
yes.
There's only one child of Destiny. Just joking. We love all of them.
You know what?
Sorry, we might have to cut that out. It's fine.
You know.
So actually, we'll stay there in terms of, because I'm interested. I've talked to a couple of people and,
Yes.
know a lot of people in the industry who sing behind talented artists, one of one is definitely the theme.
Hmm.
So how do you, and it sounds like you did receive an opportunity, but how do you really create your own lane? How do you stay centered as an artist
Right.
singing behind such a personality?
It's hard. And it's not something that I always understood. It's not something that I always embraced. And again, never to her, not that she didn't give you the opportunity to, but I've gone through so many phases kind of in my career, particularly working with her, because as someone who entered the industry very much intending to be an artist, you intend to be, well, let me just put it in my own perspective.
Yes.
I intended to be an artist envisioning very specific spaces, very specific stages, events, opportunities. I've literally had the opportunity of being in pretty much all of those stages, spaces, and opportunities with her. I wasn't in the forefront,
Right.
and I'm not naturally somebody who cares about that. So, because I'm not naturally someone who cares about that, I got very comfortable sitting in the back. It's like, hey, I made it to the places I wanted to be, and I don't even have the responsibility of being the artist. Thank you very much.
Right.
What shifted that for me was the pandemic.
Hmm.
And the reason that shifted it for me was because that was, I think, the first period of time that I realized, as much as I love this, and I do, it's like, I was very comfortable because I felt like everything I wanted to do as an artist, I'm doing as a background vocalist over here, and she actually respects my talent, so I'm good. Um, the pandemic, nobody was doing anything. There was
Right.
no tours. There were no events and opportunities to be a part of, and that was probably the first time. I had another time where I encountered this that we'll get into later,
Mhm.
but from an artistic and performing standpoint, that was kind of the first time that I realized, okay, if you do not perform with her, who are you as an artist?
Hmm.
Where are your creations? What are you leaving behind for the world to remember that you were here? You're singing it with her, And I just felt like, wow, I don't have enough of my own footprint. That I have creations and ideas that have absolutely been nurtured and cultivated and have evolved greater because of all of the experiences that I've had, and I'm not using them.
Hmm.
I'm just kind of living my art through somebody else's art. And I'm expressing somebody else's visions, ideas, hopes, dreams. But I have so many stories and experiences of my own that I'd like to create. So that was kind of when I woke up and said, okay, I want to do, my own thing. And I think the reason why I say Renaissance for me, being a part of that tour was so transformative, was because I came up with that in my head just during the pandemic. And then when we came back, although we were there very much to be her background vocalist, she treated us and nurtured us and we trained like artists. So it was almost a way of showing me, like, hey, you have the tool, you have everything you need to take center stage. So over time, I've kind of learned that it's important to, I kind of say, it's important to kind of have your own house.
Right.
It's important to have your own house of creativity where you can express your ideas, your, visions, whatever it is, however you see art and however you choose to express it. I think that it's important that you have your own version of that that is not necessarily influenced or filtered through someone else's vision. So that's been a long time coming, which is why I've been with her for so long and haven't had anything come out of my own, other than, some single
Right.
here and there. But that's something that I've had to learn because it is very hard to hold on to your own vision and hopes and dreams when you're a part of something so incredible, you know?
No,
Yeah.
I think, and thank you for sharing kind of the nuance of being grateful, but also, like you said, you have your own stories to share, which
Hmm.
takes nothing
Hmm.
away from the
Right,
experiences
right.
that you've had.
And for a long time, I think I was ashamed to admit that I had other things I wanted because I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm greedy or selfish. Like I understand the full gravity and the full weight that I'm a part of. And I'm not even necessarily saying this as a declaration of, oh, I'm walking away from, no, but it's just like, oh, wow, look at all of this stuff. And to kind of be like a church kid, look at everything in my storehouse. Look at
Mm-hmm.
everything God has put into my, what can I build from, this? And I'm like, wow, I'm not building, but because the ideas that you cannot work with someone like that and not learn. And you cannot work with someone like that and not realize when I was with her when she first released Daddy's Lessons and then we went on the CMA Awards. I was there to see the impact of what that moment meant personally, the good and the bad of
Sure.
it. And then I was there this year and I saw how she transformed that experience into something empowering, both for herself and for her fans, and as a message to everyone else. So, again, by being able to work that closely with someone who does such a great job of making lemonade out of her experiences, I've learned how to do that on my own. And so, again, I just think it's important to hold on to your own artistry and to still allow yourself to grow, even out of beautiful spaces and alongside beautiful spaces, so that you can create that. Because I believe there's somebody else who's waiting for me to tell my story so that they can be free, just like her telling hers freed me.
I love that.
So, yeah.
And you're telling your story here. And I think a lot of people, again, we've all seen you.
Yes.
But it's nice to hear, like you said, the artist behind the artist.
Right, right. I appreciate that.
Because also I feel like background vocalists, I mean, for those of you who don't know, now you know. But background vocalists are the real deal. And I
Yeah,
feel like even it's not like at that level. The
right.
people who are singing behind the artist sing down. I mean,
Yes, yes,
could
yes,
easily, as you said, could easily take the stage
yes.
and are called to do so.
Yes, yes. And literally, I know so many insanely talented, like almost frustratingly so talented artists that either they don't have the courage yet, or they haven't found the right opportunity, or that they don't have the resources or the support, or they have families at home and they're trying to make sure, like in my case, one of the aspects that some people don't always notice. Yes, I'm on stage, I'm doing these amazing things and touring and it's the lights. And then I come home and I have my mom and I have my husband and I have my child. And I've now been away from my child for maybe 6 to 9 months. So no, I don't want to jump on another tour. No, I don't want to go and focus on the album. I want to be a mother. I want to do homework and go to the store and buy groceries and give him back the time that I took away, by chasing my dreams. So there is a balance that I think all of us as background vocalists encounter that for some of us have kind of kept us from really moving forward. That's not to say all background vocalists don't want to be uh principal artists or solo artists. That is a misnomer. But there are a lot of us who do. I happen to be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not something I used to always be bold enough to admit. But then I also realized, like, I don't want any rocks crying out for me because
Right.
because I didn't claim all of the things that I wanted and take advantage of all of the opportunities that a career like mine has afforded me. So yeah, so many, so many, so many talented background vocalists that I hope we get more courage to kind of pop out when we have the opportunity to pop out, that we know how to seize our moments when artists like a Beyonce gives you that moment. Because one thing I can say about the Beehive, they are loyal on and off the stage.
Mm.
They're loyal. And yes, I don't consider them my fans, they're her fans, but they've kind of become my family, so to speak, because of the exposure and visibility that she's, given so many of us with a platform like that. So yes, 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 by all means, pay attention to the background vocalist.
Yes. Honestly,
Yes,
you want to
yes,
know who's singing on stage?
yes,
It's
yes.
everyone. Everyone is singing on stage.
Everyone is singing. Yes, yes, absolutely.
I would also imagine too in those spaces, work done on stage. Of course, we see there's a lot of work that's done off stage, and especially as your role as a vocal director,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that we don't see.
Right.
And when I'm sure when people are looking up music videos or looking at projects or looking at albums, people are not sitting there with the liner notes
Right.
and looking who did what all the time.
Right.
So how do you deal with that aspect? How do you deal with the aspect of credit, especially when you might not always receive it?
Right.
And how has that evolved? Because I can imagine that could be a lesson to learn.
Yes. So, yeah, there are a couple of answers or a couple of, I guess you would say, phases or stages to that. The crazy thing is, of course, I started performing with her when social media was not what it is now. And I also come from a family of musicians, other background vocalists. I come from a culture of other background vocalists who kind of had taught me be seen. I mean, be heard, not seen, you know. So I want to say I walked into it not expecting to be seen, not expecting to be credited. It was like work for hire. And you just go there, you do your job, and you get your check and you leave. And again, we talked about in the beginning. And then you started to see things evolve. And to be personal and honest, I'll tell you something that at many times in my career with the increase of social media and people posting moments online, it became jarring sometimes opening up the app and there you are as someone who is fighting to build a platform based on your art and your creativity, and you're doing it, you're successful, you're out there to the point that you can open up an app and your face is the first face you see. But because you're not the principal person, no one's really checking for you. No one's like, oh, that's Tiffany. Or, oh, do you know she did? No one really sees that. And so you learn to be invisible. You know, you kind of become comfortable. Well, you're not, but you know what I
Yes,
mean.
you learn to deal and endure. Yeah.
Yes, you learn to cope with being invisible. That is not something everybody can do. And that is not something that I even know everybody should do. As I've grown in the industry, I believe that when you start logging on and you see that that happens, and if that triggers you, that might be your sign that it's time to grow. It might be time to create more things on your own so that when you see your image, it's of your work, of your creation, of your opportunity. With that being said, when it comes to like tours, albums, songs, and you maybe have been a part of the creative process of creating that body of work, it's so imperative that we as some of the supporting cast of other artist bodies of work, that number one, you understand contracts, you understand what you're worth, you understand what you deserve. And it's so important and a lot easier to handle if you have that addressed in on the front end. So for example, if you are, and I mean this could be anything, whether you are going into a session and you are singing and you're arranging that piece of work, but you want credit for your arranging. Make sure that it's understood by all parties before you start arranging that you are going to be properly credited as such. And that it's not work for hire, or if it's work for hire, make sure that you're okay with that. Make sure that however it pans out, the trade-off is worth it for you. There are some times when, to me, the trade-off is worth it.
Sure.
For example, if it's work for hire, but they're like, oh, we will give you ample credit and we'll credit you on social media and we're putting you on this platform and you're on this. So it adds to your business, because that's what we are. It adds to your business in a meaningful and a way that you can build off of, then maybe you can waive and negotiate at times if it makes sense. Sometimes even still, that's not enough. I believe if you are creating a body of work, you should be credited for what you are creating.
Simple.
Yes. Whether or not that always will be the case is a personal decision that I think each artist kind of has to decide for themselves where their boundary and limits are. All places and all spaces will not be amenable to
Mm-hmm.
working with you. And you have to decide, is this worth my contribution? Sometimes it may not be.
Right.
And the older I've kind of gotten in experience, the more I've gotten comfortable with walking away from opportunities that don't make sense to me.
And I think this.
Pents or SEN.
Oh, right.
Both.
You said mental or financial.
Yes, sense. Right.
How have, because I know that's difficult. And I think, now we get into the intersection of artistry and personal worth.
Right.
How have you, I imagine that had to evolve for you.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
So, I would like to say that it evolved. I would like to say I woke up in a bed of lilies one morning and just, came to that. It has come mostly this year. And it came after the absolutely most devastating set of experiences.
Mm.
Number one of the things that, so a story that I'm finally comfortable kind of saying, I won't break down while I'm telling the story, but ironically, in the world of music and touring for a living and being a background vocalist, one of the things I've come accustomed to is being away from family. I'm accustomed to kind of just zipping in, zipping out, coming, going. There's times when I might have a gig, I might be within an hour or two of a family member, but I'll probably be back here on another gig in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I'll come see them then. Back in February, I was on a gig and I was within an hour and a half, 2 hours from my father. And when I was that close, I was like, I should go see Daddy. I should. Something was just telling me, like, go see him, go see him, go see him. But then I had the flight. My flight was like in the next kind of 2 hours. It would have required me to change my flight. I would have had to catch an Uber to go find them. And it was just so complicated at the time that I was just like, I'll be on tour. I'll, later on in the year, I'll come back and see him, when I'm down here for tour the next time. Which I thought was going to be in a matter of months. Fast forward a week later. I get a call from my sister, and long story short, they had found my father dead in his home. At that moment, the only things that I could think of was he never got to see me do my own thing. I was so busy working on somebody else's clock that I didn't pause for my family when everything was telling me to pause for my family. And I just felt like I didn't really have agency over my schedule at the time. I had so much to do. They need me at this rehearsal by then. They need me at this, And I felt like as a result of all of that, when my intuition told me to go and handle something personal, I chose work. And I chose what I chose the assumption because I assumed I'll be on tour. I'll be back down here, blah, blah. After that, I kind of went to the point I didn't want to sing anything. I felt guilty for singing. The day after my father died, I got called for the Cowboy Carter tour. And rehearsals were starting. Like they had a tour to plan. So they were incredibly supportive of my loss and all of that, but it's not like anyone's schedule was slowing down because my father had passed. And fast forward, I just remember being in those rehearsals and having to like hide away in the bathroom and go cry because I was not in any emotional state to be working. I needed to grieve, but and especially because of course obviously I went to go to my father's funeral, but within 4 days of my father's funeral I was at rehearsals preparing for another tour, and it's like I can't do this. I need to be home. And in addition to that, at the time I felt like I never want to schedule again that pulls me away from my family. If I have to do all my work from my house, I'll do all my work from my house. It just kind of ripped me out of that. Once I kind of had time to, I didn't do the full tour this last tour. I thankfully had the opportunity to contribute as much as I possibly could. And In hindsight, if I'm honest, I probably didn't even need to do that. But um, I'm grateful that it gave me something to do, so I wasn't only crying
Sure.
in
Right.
that
Right.
downtime.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I'm grateful for that. But what I will say is, once I finally came back home, had a period of time to grieve and do all of that, I just realized what my I don't want to call it a regret because I feel like everything has a reason, which we'll get into that later. But I will say my takeaway kind of from that experience and my father's death, and and then I still have my mom, and my mom roots for me to do so many things. It was just like time is not promised. I can no longer build my life and my career and my schedule on somebody else's dream or somebody else's vision. There are things that I want to do in this life that I want to take agency of, and I have to be willing to do it on my own. I've been waiting to be visible. I've been waiting to be acknowledged. I've been waiting for a deal. I've been waiting for all of these perfect circumstances to come to give me permission to do the thing that I've been a long time equipped to do already. So this year for me, both for artistic purposes and mental health purposes, I realized that I needed to kind of bring everything back into me. And again, that's not to say I won't go on tours or do that ever again, but kind of the way that I do it, what I participate um in, how I participate, all of that changed for me this year as a result of that. Long story, but
No,
that's
I
what made
mean,
it change. Yes.
those are the stories that, shape, like you said,
Yeah.
sorry, of course, for
Yeah.
your loss. And also
Yeah.
what a lesson to learn. It seems like good things, bad things, heavy things,
Hmm.
the universe pushes you to do what
Yes. Yes.
you need to be doing.
Yes.
As we talk about the intersection of professional and personal lessons,
Hmm.
you mentioned this early that you had kind of had this understanding of being heard and not seen.
Yes.
And was that also, do you see that pattern also in a lot of your personal life as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes and no. I will say this. Growing up, I was probably one of the most affirmed people I know. Like when it came to my talent, when it came to my dreams and my hopes, my education, the schools I went, I was just affirmed. My family, my church, just everybody just affirmed. So I can definitely say I kind of grew up fueled by acknowledgement
Mm.
from others, praise from others. You're amazing. You're great. Look at how she sang. Look at how she speaks. Look at how she's dressed. Oh, she did so great in school. Oh, Princess is great. I grew up with just flooded with affirmation. When I became an adult, and particularly in my professional career, I think I evolved to believe that I was only worthy if I was getting that,
Ooh,
and only for what
you were
it was
doing.
for. Right.
Yes.
So people, oh my God, you're an incredible background vocalist. Oh my God, you're so amazing. Oh my God, B doesn't need anybody else but you. My brain interprets that as I can't leave. I'm a part. I have to do this. I have to, and that's the thing. Most people, you have some people that's like, oh, no one ever believed in me. No, that's not my case. That's not my case. I was so believed in that I felt that that was the
You
prerequisite
like
for me.
wore that as like,
Yes,
yeah,
I
wow.
I wore it, and in my adult life, I feel like I grew to need permission to grow.
Mm.
When I hear people saying, "Oh my God, you can do this," then it's like, okay, yeah, I belong here because they said, yeah, I'm good here. But if I didn't hear anybody pushing that, oh, that must not be my lane. I need to, you know, and I am very I know how to read a room. I'll put it that way.
Yes, you do.
My mother taught me how to read a room. So, because of that, if I am here and I am here to be a background vocalist, I'm not here to show you how good I can sing. I'm not here to do riffs and runs. I'm not here to sing it better than you. That's not why you called me to be here. You called me to be here to support the vision that you're creating. So, all I'm trying to do is support the vision that you're creating. that has held me back sometimes, because there are some times where, and I'm still figuring this out, as you can see.
Mhm.
There are some spaces where I feel like there is a window of opportunity, and that is your window of opportunity to shine and be bold. Then there are other times where I feel like people just take it. And maybe they shouldn't have taken it, but they took it anyway. But they won because they took it. And I think over my career, one of the things that I've never quite gotten the balance of is knowing, when do you take an opportunity versus the one that's given to you. I always take the ones that are given to me, but I don't take the ones that are not. Sometimes, like I said, that's worked for me. Sometimes that hasn't. And I'm still figuring that
Well,
out.
that's hard. I mean, and like I
Yeah.
said, especially where you are and where you work.
Like, come on.
I mean, those
You
are
don't take an
exactly,
opportunity.
those are big consequences.
Right, right.
Um,
And again, I don't even want to necessarily only paint it from I have, and I jokingly say, like, I will fight you feet and fist over that girl.
mhm.
I have so much respect for her space and what she's creating and what she's doing. So much so that, no, do I think that even maybe the people in that universe necessarily know all of my talents? No, because that wasn't the place for me to show them what I have. That I'm not here for that.
Right, that wasn't the job.
That wasn't the job. Maybe that's the right thing, maybe that's the wrong thing, because sometimes I will have like colleagues from the tour, or even there have literally been times where she's seen me do something off tour, and it's like, oh my God, like, and it's like, oh yeah, yeah, I can do that. But so I wouldn't necessarily paint myself as anybody's blueprint or ideal way to handle that. Um, because sometimes I do wonder, with the experiences I had, with the people I've been able to meet and the opportunities, like, I've done a lot of stuff. I don't do the best job of promoting all of the things that I do, but I've done a lot of stuff. And sometimes when I'm in my raw moments and my honest moments with myself, and I'm like, why am I not, like, why don't I have a deal? Why am I not performing the stage? Where's my Grammy? And when I have those moments, then me and my mom have this analogy. And my mom always says, she says, Lord, so many opportunities, God's lowered the ladder down for you to just climb up, and you just don't climb, you know? And I don't think I climb out of respectability politics, trying to stay in my place where I am, not saying, no, this is the moment. This is the moment, you know? So I think that's a delicate balance, particularly for those of us who are in supporting roles for a bigger artist. Because if you have respect for the space or the artist or the place, you don't want to do anything to compromise that. But you also want to know when a window of opportunity is growing up for you to evolve and grow and elevate, you know. And I would say after 18 years of working with her, I've had tons of those. And I was just like, oh, look at their ladder. Okay. And then just let it go by.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, it's like, yeah, you see the ladder, and to stick with the metaphor, but it's like,
Hmm.
also I am living on the top of a hill in a palace.
And it's kind of green, and I
Right.
like,
And it's like, I get
right.
fed the food that I like. I have servants of my own. That ladder could lead to other places, but we're cool here. And I think, it's really interesting to hear you speak about how compliments kind of kept you in a place. Because, I mean, as you're creating your own world, look at me just hitting things. As you create your own world, and as you become a visionary, which you have to be as an artist, very few people can see beyond what you're doing currently. Of course, they compliment you for what you're doing. So when you feel comfortable, of course, as we all do as humans,
Right.
being affirmed, very few people, if anyone, has the foresight to affirm you for the things that they haven't seen.
Right.
And so I could see how that could keep you in a place, especially, again, when you have done hard work to be affirmed. Also, it's like, it's the work that you put in to be affirmed currently is not to be,
Right.
taken for granted. But
Right.
that is a whole different level of stepping into the void.
Yeah,
Um,
literally.
but you've been doing that in other ways.
Yes.
And so
Right.
we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
So the way we met has been such a blessing, such an amazing opportunity. I remember I heard about you, and of course, like you said, once I heard and I looked and remembered, I was oh, she's a star. When we were able to work together on the Gap campaign.
Yeah.
And again, Tiffany served as the vocal director and vocal arranger for this campaign that's out now. So
Yes.
you can go see it. You can
See
go
us.
to any Gap store. I was going to say in the country, but really around the world and see,
Yes.
you know, you're a global star. See, you're already a global star. But can you tell us how that came about? I have so many questions about that.
Wow. So interesting. Oh, God makes no mistakes. So, what was interesting? I'm trying to figure out how much
You're right. Sorry.
of this. What'd you say?
I was like, the podcast, you get the censored answers. You know, we're all trying to stay employed. So
Right. Right. So I'll say this. The beautiful thing was I was just being frank.
mm-hmm.
I was very depressed when I got called for that. Like very, very, why am I doing this? I need to stop doing this. I'm sick of this industry. Depressed when I got the call. And the call actually came from, I was told, basically the marketing team that was working on the campaign reached out to a mutual friend. And they were looking for, I have no idea to this day how anyone found out about me. But they reached out to a mutual friend who worked with me with Beyoncé and asked for my information. So he reached out to me and basically asked, is it okay if I send your information on? He was like, I think they want you for like a choir or something. He didn't even know what the opportunity was. So I'm like, okay, fine, send it over. At the same time, I had received a message in my inbox from somebody from there that I hadn't paid any, because I get like emails all the time, like, hi, I love you, give me a call. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
So it was a message I honestly hadn't taken seriously at the time, but then after I got the other call, I kind of connected the dots and was like, oh wait, this is legitimate. So I replied back to him. And long story short, they kind of reached out to me. They knew a lot of information about me already, which I appreciated. So I'm like, okay. But I want to step back for a second because maybe a week before I got the phone call again, because I was grieving the loss of my dad. I had just come home from the Cowboy Carter tour. I'm like, what do I do with my life now? Like, and again, especially because I didn't really want to sing. So I'm like, okay, so I don't want to sing. And I need to make this footnote too, because again, outside of working with Beyonce, I work with a lot of other people on a lot of other projects, always as an arranger, as a background vocalist, as a writer, as a vocal producer, never for my stuff. So pretty much the decision that I had made was I'm not working on nobody else's.
Right. If it ain't Tiffany, it ain't for me. Right.
Right. So that's pretty much where I was at the time of the thing. So then I get this phone call and I'm like, but ironically, about a week before then, I had written in my journal, like earlier this year, I kind of learned about this practice of writing down your prayers. And I was doing this kind of 40-day fast where instead of saying your prayers, you write them down. And the whole purpose of writing down is because the premise was that a lot of times we pray for things and our prayers are answered, but because we don't remember what we prayed for, we don't remember that they were answered. So if you write the prayers down instead, when certain things happen in your life, you can literally go back and remember what you asked for. About a week before the gig, I had just wrote something. I had just gotten out of, this is why I was like, how much do I want to say? But I'll just say this. I had a manager. It was not a good relationship. It was not. And he found me at a very, very vulnerable time because I had just come off the Renaissance tour. I was getting great responses. B had kind of like, I feel like once again, lowered a ladder for me. And this time I was calling myself climbing it. And here comes this manager. And I'm like, oh, it's alignment. Sure. Let me sign. And I signed to him and he did nothing with me. And so we were kind of coming up to the end of that contract. And so that was fueling my depression. So, because I'm just like, my career's not going anywhere. I lost my dad. The tour is over. I don't even know if I'm going to get called back there. I'm not singing background anymore. Probably lost that forever. Like, what? I was just all over the place. I prayed and I wrote in the book and I said, God, I need a win. I need a win. And last time I thought you were sending me a win, and this guy was a crook.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a win, and I need it to come from somebody that I trust. I know I'm asking for specifics, but hey, I'm being specific. I'll know it's you.
Right.
If you send it the way I'm asking, I'll know it's you. So I said, I need a win, and I need it to come from somebody that I trust. And if it comes from somebody I trust, I'll know that this is you. So when the person called me and said, hey, somebody just called me looking for you, he was somebody I trusted. And that made me say, okay, well, let me see what this is about. I called, they told me what it was. I've done a lot of arranging opportunities, again, for background work, for like solo album, lots of studio sessions, tons of live performances. I did once do like little Folgers and what was it, eHarmony ad.
Oh,
Like
cool.
I would do like session ad work, like where I was the principal vocalist, but you didn't see me, you didn't know who I was. I was just a voice. But not quite like this opportunity was presenting. So it was interesting, but I wanted to hear more. I think the thing that finally let me know, like, what is this opportunity telling me, was the song choice. Because as they told me what the song was initially, which was You Gotta Be, when they told me what the song choice was, those were the lyrics I needed to hear in that moment. I needed it. I needed to be bad. I needed to be bold. I needed to be wiser. And so the process of arranging that, honestly, it had nothing to do with them. I was pulling myself out of a rut.
Wow. So
In
I'm
that,
going to say, I'll take a little credit because
yes, go ahead. That's why I said
yes, love that. If you're watching the video, but if you listen to the audio, I was the one that recommended that song. So, and I don't know that many songs. I know about 2. So half of my library, I was able to call upon. That's amazing though, to think about that.
Yes. So it did. That pulled me out of that rut and got me through what I would call the initial phases of that journey. Then fast forward, that song changed, and it changed a couple of times. And then we landed on The Climb. When they sent me that song, and I read the lyrics, I heard the song a million times, but when they sent me that song and I saw those lyrics, I started bawling.
Mm-hmm.
I literally started bawling because I felt like You Gotta Be was the setup. And it was like, okay, are you listening now? Yeah, life sucked this year. It had to. Because sometimes you're going to have to lose. And there's a lot of things that I would never go into, but there were a lot of other things going on in my personal life as a result of my dad's loss and everything that people don't realize. Like, there's so many layers of grief that comes with someone dying that we know the surface, but there's a snowball effect. And life was just hitting me with everything. And so I felt like You Gotta Be was like catching my attention. And then The Climb was like giving me the recipe for how to endure.
Wow.
So literally, as I was kind of going through that whole journey, I went through that journey with so much humility because I felt like it was filling me as much. It was literally, I ain't gonna cry on here, but it was literally.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to just. I was like, I didn't know all of this. Whew.
Yes, it was literally bridging the gap that I needed in that moment at a really raw time. So again, that's why I said I'm gonna cry. So that's the reason why literally that job, they have no idea how important that opportunity and that season and that moment. And like I would kind of tell y'all in our little private moments, I would be like, y'all, if y'all only knew some of the stuff I was going through, but literally, oh God, everything about that, even kind of like the narrative of give your gift. Sometimes you can't do anything else. You don't have anything else to do but give. Not realizing that sometimes you will be healed from giving your gift as much as you think you get from receiving. It's not always about receiving. Sometimes the blessings come from giving it. And that's the reason I think from that whole gap journey, I just learned that, I mean, literally every lyric of that song speaks to everywhere that I was in that season, and kind of the aftermath of it, and just watching it coming out and seeing how it impacts other people. Yes, artistically, I'm proud. I'm very proud to, for the arranging and all of the love and all of that. But again, they have no idea. Like, it is very much, it's been more medicine for me than anything I could have given out. So, yes, that's my gap.
Oh my
It's to literally
goodness.
bridge the gap.
That is, wow.
Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's the podcast. No. Okay, no, that's beautiful. I mean, and you did such a beautiful job.
Thank you. Good
And
job,
no,
Patrick.
I mean, so yes, Patrick Zappia,
Yes.
mastermind behind these,
Yes.
all the music projects that we've been able to do. But what a, yeah, what a testament. I think, not knowing all this as you
Hmm.
were doing it. We'll be back next week with more with Tiffany Monique. So stay tuned to the second half of this conversation on This Might Get Personal.